Senator Patterson, Ontario.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Minister, thank you very much. My question is in regards to your intergovernmental provincial territorial role and specifically relates to the Canadian Armed Forces health system. As you're probably aware, the 14th health system in Canada is actually a federal one. And as we are moving forward, the Canadian Armed Forces has always consistently delivered some services, but then purchased the rest at exponentially increased rates from the provinces, as well as a few provinces who require a substantial yearly dispensation in order to provide care to Canadians who actually pay taxes within those provinces. As you know, since 2018, we've been trying to negotiate a reasonable rate with provinces, as the Canadian Armed Forces has been excluded from the Canada Health Act for all reasons we understand. Now, as of February the 7th, the Prime Minister announced that the one-time payments to the provinces via the Canada Health Transfer, now Bill C-46 before the Senate. He also announced that the government's intent to come to bilateral agreements with each province individually on healthcare funding. And since then, as we've heard, most, if not all, provinces have signed agreements with the federal government. Minister, my question to you is, was the rates of reimbursements by D&D to the provinces for the provision of health care to members of the Canadian Armed Forces part of those signed agreements? And if not, is the federal government in negotiation for service agreements?
Minister LeBlanc.
Mr. Speaker, through you to Senator Patterson, thank you for that interesting question. It's not a policy area on which I have very precise knowledge. I will ask my colleague Jean-Yves Duclos, as well as Anita Anand, the Defence Minister. I didn't understand, and I come from New Brunswick, where you can imagine a military base as important as Gagetown, what that would represent to a provincial health system in Fredericton, where the senator sitting behind you resides. These have been sources of frustration, I know, between the Armed Forces Health Services and provinces and territories. So I had a sense of the concern you identified. The good news, Senator, is that the agreements that we have reached with the provinces and territories are agreements in principle. The binding bilateral detailed agreements are still being negotiated. So the provinces wanted to sign agreements in principle. It allowed them to book the federal money in their budgets. They responded quickly to what the Prime Minister offered, and Jean-Yves Duclos and I did a quick trip around the country to 13 provincial and territorial capitals. We were very happy with the agreements in principle, but the detailed agreements are still to be negotiated. So I'll take back that question and make sure that Jean-Yves Duclos, who is leading those detailed bilateral negotiations, gets the information from the Canadian Armed Forces. It's an interesting subject and one I didn't know a lot about, but I'll ensure that we do the appropriate follow-up. And thank you for